this is Mariana Danilovich, and I am the founder of Infium. We launched the BNB Chain and Infium Founders Academy a couple of weeks back. And in this second week, we have Ethan Jenny, who is the co-host of a podcast that started as Edge of NFT and did an amazing job aggregating all of the NFT communities. And now he's also part of the Outer Edge LA, which is one of the top conferences coming to the NFT space and in general crypto Web3 metaverse space. So Ethan's going to tell us a little bit about the marketing efforts, I would say, and everything else behind these two initiatives he's part of. He's on the founding team of. Ethan, the podium is yours.
All right. Yeah, great to be here. I'm really excited to join everyone. Of course, we had Mariana on our Edge of NFT podcast as an early guest. She joined us with Rish Lotlakar of Superworld, which is an incredible project, and enjoy also knowing Rish over the years, seeing him all over the world. You know, he was in Davos when we were there. He's been to our events, and he's a great partner for our company. So, yeah, Mariana gave a good background. This all started with us. What we have is the Edge of Company, is the name of our overarching company. It's a tech media and events company, co-creating the Web3 future, through all sorts of different channels. The media side of things, it primarily our podcast, Edge of NFT, but our social channels and all the relationships that we've built in the media space. And then we launched our podcast in March of 2021. Literally just 1 year later, in March of 2022 is where we put on this event. At the time, it was called NFT LA. And, we were really, we worked hard, and I'm sure we deserved it, but we were really impressed by the turnout for the event, the incredible experience we were able to put on. And I think we were expecting to be 1,500 people and had 3,700. We had Mark Cuban as a speaker. We had Steve Aoki doing performances. We had Neil Strauss doing interviews. It's like one of the best interviewers on the planet. And so what we focused on with that event is to highlight and leverage the scene of Los Angeles, creativity, entertainment, sports, and to really create a circumstance where it's the place where everyone wants to be, and therefore they know that that's where the other folks that they want to meet with and connect with are going to be too. So you're going to have a great time. You're going to learn a lot about the entertainment and creative spaces, but also like you're going to connect. If you want to do business, you're going to be able to do that. If you're just coming to learn, we're onboarding, everyone from the advanced folks to the newbies, right? We have a very welcoming event. Our PR partner, Waxman PR, said that of all these crypto and blockchain events that they work with, we really did one of the best, if not the best jobs bringing in the mainstream. We got millions of mainstream media impressions, and it was really quite a success. We're also building a technology, an application around sharing podcasts and media and building community around that leverages tokenomics and Web3 as well. And that's on the horizon. But I thought it would be great to share with you guys today some of the highlights of our event this year. Anybody's interested in attending, getting involved, or just spreading the word about it, I think it's definitely something that should be on your radar. And I can also, just explain, from your perspective, I think what might be useful, any lessons learned or things like that. So I think, we do have a unique position with this podcast to be able to see where things are going and what's going on, right? Because we get to actually talk to the people that are making those things happen, and that have the sort of visions themselves about how things should be. One thing that I think maybe is on everybody's mind, but I think it can highlight about where the direction things are going is, onboarding new people into the Web3 space in a way that maybe doesn't really highlight that it is the Web3 space. So for example, you think that if you're building an application, right, that's going to leverage blockchain, Yes, there's a certain Web3 audience that's going to get excited about, terms like NFTs and tokenomics and things like that. But there's another audience where they're really more excited about. I guess I think about it from my study of marketing, right? If I write a headline on a web page, it's not going to say, get your NFTs here on this page. It's going to say, get access, exclusive access to things in a quick and easy way. Own something that's digital in a way that you can trade it and profit from it well on into the future, right? Uh, be able to have digital assets that are programmable and can do really interesting and innovative things, like enjoy art from a whole new experience, right? That's like the headline. And so I think that similarly, people are really excited about what can it do, not what it is. We're excited about what it is because we're nerds and we're builders and we're entrepreneurs, but the mainstream is more excited about what it does. And so I think the more that we can deliver that to them quickly and easily, not force them to learn more than they need to know like the underlying technology, and really just deliver the value to them as quickly and easily as possible. And then I think, down the line, as people get settled into these applications and these use cases, I think that's when maybe the door opens to give a little bit of vocabulary and sort of teach. So it's kind of like an inverse methodology. The early adopters, you teach in a different way. Like you get the vocabulary right away. I think once we get along the curve a little bit farther, it's almost a reverse. And I think of it like, you know, I know what CSS is, even if I'm not, a web developer, or I might know what HTML is, but it's really just because, I could build a Squarespace thing, and really I just want to know it for a moment, right? So I can embed something and then I'm done. And I go on to selling my cupcakes or whatever I'm doing, right? So that's the way I think about that, being able to onboard people in a way that's easy and understandable and familiar. And then, slowly but surely introducing those things. One day saying, hey, remember that badge that we gave you? It actually gives you special access. Nobody can take it away, and you can actually trade it. You can sell it. Isn't that cool? Oh yeah, that is cool. I want to do that. That's great. So those are some of my general thoughts about where things are going. I think that's where a lot of the powerful thinkers, the direction they're going in. I would like to take a minute. I'll show you guys about our event just because I think it might be of interest. And I know I've only got maybe like 4 or 5 more minutes here, so I'll try to make it brief. Maybe I'll share the website that just via screen, just as an easy way to walk you through some of the things that I think are interesting. And so that if you revisit it, you'll know where to go. So the website link, I put it in the chat there, and you'll find other stuff about us through that. We have the Edge of NFT podcast. Let me share screen here. How to get on the website. So this is our Outer Edge LA website, and I didn't really get to go deeply into it. So I mentioned we called it NFT LA last year, but this year it's called Outer Edge. And really the reason of that is, we saw last year there was a real explosion of all these things in Web3 that were happening. And it's kind of like beyond Web3, right? It goes into, blockchain is connected with all sorts of things, AI, AR, sort of immersive things, decentralization, decentralized finance, creativity and digital creativity and things like that. So we ended up changing the sort of theme of the event to Outer Edge to really encompass like a larger array of what's going on. So basically what I want to show you guys that I think is most exciting is sort of this get involved stuff that we've got going on. And again, you guys are builders, so maybe this is the best place, for you even specifically. We've got this cool land grant application process. So we're building a decentralized way to hold a conference, and it's us pushing our edges as conference presenters. Basically, folks that have an activation that they think would be of value to our audience, they can apply. And if they get accepted, it's really just a nominal cost to have that land, quote unquote, within the space of the Los Angeles Convention Center. And, we'll give you the reins. We may even be able to give you a few pro bono tickets and, just take off, right? And be part of that decentralized experience that we think can be built. Art activations, community events are also part of this. We'll be promoting community events outside of the conference center, again, sort of decentralized themes around things. Of course, sponsorship, if you guys are interested, that's a place to look. But specifically, what I wanted to mention here is the hackathon. So we do have a hackathon in this year for the very first time, and the themes of that hackathon are going to be supercharging the creator economy, and it's going to be open to well beyond developers. We're talking about creative individuals, UI UX people, marketers, even building teams of folks to put ideas into practice, and that's attractive not only to the folks that are going to enter, but also the sponsors and the other folks that are going to see who's involved and who's good and who's winning, right? Because we think that we're going to help build connections, for example, between somebody who's like really talented might get a job out of participating in this hackathon, and somebody who needs somebody that's talented might find that talented person through the hackathon. And again, the market is kind of in a bit of a bear right now. It's shifting and changing, so we're trying to make this really accessible. So this is a free hackathon, and if you enter and you actually submit a project for judging by the end of it, you get free passes to the Outer Edge event. So that's really great. And we also have this startup arena that's a new thing. Again, if you're seed to Series A level startup, you can compete in this, and we're really excited. That's a new thing that we're doing this year as well. There's kind of like the three things that I thought this audience might be interested in. And if anybody has questions, you can email me at Ethan at edgeofnft.com. And before I hop off here, let me just stop the screen share. Before I hop off here, I'll make sure that in the chat, I'll give two things. I'll write out my email address because my name is a little bit hard to spell. Then at Edge of NFT.com. So it's just EATHAN. And then the other thing, if anybody is considering getting a ticket there, I do have a code, get a 10% off, which is kind of fun. So that's Ethan10. Just go to the ticket space page, put that in, and you get a discount. So I hope that's interesting to you guys. I know where you're coming from. We're our own, scrappy startup putting all this stuff together. It's fun, it's stressful, it's a ride, and appreciate all of you for what you're doing and you're building. Another aspect, just in some, beyond what I said about the way that we're onboarding people, this community aspect is very important, and that's what we're trying to be the linchpin of, making sure everybody comes together and they have a support system. So make sure that you have your support system, and if you don't have it, we'd like to be a part of it. Mariana, anything else?
Yeah,
Like
I
questions,
do.
period, or just like, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I have questions, and I'm sure other
Yep.
people do. Having worked with variety of both technology and Web3 conferences last year, we were media partners with many of them. I found that what you guys have done, it has gone beyond just sort of conference management into this area of marketing, and marketing is our topic today. So, I invited you during the marketing session, and marketing is the topic today with the perspective of building community to market. Okay, to that,
Okay.
how do you build that community and how do you successfully market to that community? And so the question that I had first, let's start with the podcast, because we have not run podcasts, we do these online educational events, but you guys have done a tremendous set of podcasts, and you were able to get to all the relevant players in the NFT space. How did you go about that? And what did that result in beyond the podcast?
Oh, yes. Well, yeah, this is like sort of outside of Web3, but also podcasting. People don't realize there's a lot of similarities with the themes between podcasting. RSS, for example, is kind of like a decentralized way of publishing. It's been around for years. There's kind of a theme of like grassroots, decentralization, all these things going on with podcasting. I'm deep into podcasting, so it's a good question for me. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, I think it's a great idea. Like you said, Mariana, the thing that a lot of people default to when it goes to starting a podcast is, all right, well, I want to make great content, get a huge audience, and sell advertising. And that's the model of podcasting. And that is so far from if that's all you see in the world of podcasting, you're really missing out on a ton. I literally know of a podcast in the healthcare space where it's generating a ton of revenue and there's hardly any audience at all. Now the audience that's there, maybe it's a few hundred people and they find it interesting. What happens is there's a healthcare service they need to deliver, and they have on the podcast the folks who recommend that type of a service, right? So by building those relationships through their podcast, they're the first person that gets called for that service, right? And it's something that literally they spend money on producing this podcast. They put it out on social, all this stuff. It's got a very small audience, but it makes them a great amount of revenue. So all that to say, there's just so many opportunities here to build relationships, right? Or even just to have a meaningful conversation. When the record button is on and you're talking to somebody and that it's going to be shared to the public, they're more focused, right? They're more present. You have an opportunity to have a great conversation. So we literally, Yatsu of Animoca Brands came on the podcast. We had a great conversation with him. We resonated, and within months, we were in an accelerator program through Animoca Brands, and they're one of our key investors, right? So it's just a really important way to connect with folks. So Twitter Spaces are a similar thing, that may be more accessible. I know it can be distracting if you have you have your main business project that you're trying to build and work on, but I do think these are highly leverageable means of marketing, to put it around what you're saying, Mariana, creating
Yeah.
this type of content that it is around engaging with people on a one-on-one basis. It really builds relationships so much faster.
It's like the actual content does matter, and the actual people you're talking to do matter, because that's the idea behind, obviously with the Animoca situation, that was, a great example of fundraising through podcasting. So
And
Alan,
by
you
the
have,
way, it wasn't
yeah,
necessarily our intention. It's just that, that happened.
it's
We had him on a
wonderful.
podcast because he's a great guest, and it
Yeah,
just turned into a relationship. Yeah, go
it's
ahead.
wonderful. Alan, you have a question?
I
You can
did.
ask. Yeah.
Thank you. Ethan, first of all, I wanted to thank you for your really great insights. I really appreciate it. At our team, Trender, we work with influencers and micro influencers. And my question to you is, celebrities and celebrity endorsements to celebrity involvement has been an important component to a lot of crypto projects in the past. So I just wanted to see if, in your opinion, will that remain an important aspect? And if yes, how did you go about engaging and working with celebrities? You had mentioned one of your events had some celebrity involvement in it. Wanted to find out from you what you thought about the future, and if it's important, what are your tips to working with celebrities?
Yeah, for sure. That's an interesting question. I think the biggest tip that I could give to a group like this is that if you get the value exchange right, you can do things in a very inexpensive way when it comes to celebrity engagements. Now, you have to have the skills and the talent, like people on our team, like Mariana knows Josh. He's incredible at building those type of agreements and relationships. But just to let you know that it's possible, right? So that you could potentially build a partnership with a celebrity around something where you would think they want, maybe even in another engagement, they get compensated, tens of thousands of dollars for that type of thing. There's space for you to negotiate things in such a way where you're delivering value to them, and they're delivering value to you, and that's all there is to it. There doesn't have to be a lot of financial outlay. So it's just something to consider and to think about. In terms of, do we think it's important for like maybe projects to have celebrity endorsement? Yeah, that's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, I think that it really comes down to, is that celebrity, can you resonate with them, that they really understand the space, right? That they understand what the mission and vision of things are. And it's not just something they said, hey, it looks like I could make some money doing XYZ, so I'm going to jump in. And so that's what we've seen, I think, from some of the more successful collaborations with celebrities. We had Seth Green on the podcast. We had Jesse Dillon, who's not necessarily a celebrity, but he's Bob Dylan's son, and he's a filmmaker.
He's a celebrity to me, for
He
sure.
is? Okay, good, good. Yeah. He's a really cool guy. But it's like you meet these people and you can tell they're very genuine, right? And I think that it's kind of like use your sniff or use your gut, and in like in any new space where there's a lot of opportunity, but it's new and it's fresh and anybody can kind of get up and do something. We've seen several times, whether people are famous or maybe they're anonymous, just look into their background, look into their character, and make sure you're working with someone that you can stand by in the long term, not just for a quick win. So that's my thoughts around kind of celebrity collaborations.
And interestingly about this space, I think, Ethan, is that when I talked to Josh last year and I talked to him this year about the conference, the celebrities have changed. They're not the same celebrities. So people that we were sort of hoping to have there last year are different than people this year because the market we're in is evolving so quickly, therefore outer edge and no more edge of NFT. Can you talk about marketing inside a very chaotic environment? I mean, that's really what we have to kind of deal with day in and day out. How do you sort of organize that in your process?
Yeah. I think that by the way, William Shatner's on the keynote speaker for the event. It's perfect for the outer edge theme, and we're really excited to be working with him. And if you look at his background, it's like I was saying, you can see he's just consistently been someone who's been on the outer edge, interestingly enough, pushing his boundaries. In this type of a space, we have focused on working with, building, marketing to everything the builders. Like they're really like authentic, true believers into things. So at a grassroots level. So building your partnerships around folks that have the ear of those type of communities, I think is really important. So when you talk about influencers, again, are they an influencer among a community of passionate, sort of involved folks and that care deeply about the sort of principles behind what we're doing? Right. So I think right now what has stood out as the most important thing to us are like it's genuine principles behind what's going on in this movement, how it's going to improve our future, how it's going to solve problems that people have been plagued with for many years, and we finally have a potential solution. Things around like security, and token gating and things like that, ownership, stuff like that. So I think just really tapping into the sort of builders and people that are passionate about building, and the people are really connected to the principles of things. I think that helps answer your question. If there's any more specific, I could try to address it.
Yeah, no, it's very challenging. Last year also, I was just shocked at the number of satellite events. And, for every conference I get, a number of texts in variety of text chats, etc., saying, how are you coming to Denver? LinkedIn
Right.
messages, whatever, email,
Right.
however they can find me. And for this, it was literally, I was getting messages all day long, like, we're downtown LA in such and such brewery or such and such, gallery, and come join us for this lunch or for that, VIP dinner. It was literally like an endless pouring of events that were satellite events with your event. And, was that something that you guys just kind of tapped into, the sort of revolution in the NFT world in Los Angeles? Or do you feel that's reproducible? And then how would one go about actually thinking through that?
I think, just from the thought of an actual event like we did, planting our flag on the ground, being very intentional about, following through and with what we were doing. It took a lot of guts and stick to itiveness the first year, of course. It never happened before. And we literally saw other events cancel. We've seen proof you would expect a huge potential event around a huge collection. Kevin Rose, successful multiple time entrepreneur, they canceled their event, right? So like just people knowing and trusting that you're going to be there is half the battle, and that way they can say, oh, I'm going to have a satellite event. I'm going to plan it. I'm going to put energy behind it. So there's something about kind of that committedness, being committed to your idea, so that people can have the confidence that they can also be committed to it. I think it's sort of a subtle thing, but I think that's really important. It's just something also naturally that we've seen with other events. You know, you got the main event, people use it as an opportunity. So I think there's a aspect of just seeing what happens naturally, but then amplifying it, right? Like I visited Montauk many years ago. It's like a vacation destination in Long Island. But I visited there in like February or something like that, wintertime. There's nobody there. It was kind of nice. It was quiet. It was peaceful. I'd never been there before, so I had just I realized it's a summertime destination, right? People go to there to surf and but all these shops, they weren't even open. They didn't even bother opening in the off season. Completely shut their doors, shut down, and then they open up when the tides are high, or so to speak, and the activity's high. And so a metaphor for like this idea of if you can see that something has momentum, then you can amplify it, right? And that's the type of thing that we see with these satellite events. We know that there's momentum behind this, that people do this anyway. How can we capture that and amplify it? So this year, even more than last year, we will have like a partner events, right? So even though they're outside the walls of the event, where they're actually some that are officially affiliated with us, or we're putting them on a calendar of events and things like that, so that we can highlight the sort of like decentralized aspect and take advantage of like the wider community involvement.
And I would say in all these years of, participating in a variety of conferences in media entertainment, digital media, technology, speaking at a lot of them, there were very few in my mind, over the, 20 plus year period of time that were actual marketplaces. And you were able to create that as well. And when I talked to a bunch of people at the expo, they had some sort of a business development relationship with Josh, who was helping them, with introductions to other potential partners from the podcast and from the conference, etc. And to me, that is like the true valuation of an event. If you can actually not just be a place where people go to have a nice event, meet other people, exchange some business cards, but where they feel like, okay, I went to this event and I've actually done business deals that are relevant to me and to my company. How did you go about creating that atmosphere? I think that's my last question. We've been taking a lot of your time today.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll jump off. I have to jump off in a minute too. Unfortunately, I could stay forever. It's fun talking to you. But yeah, create that environment. I noticed this, and I'm sure Jeff and Josh did. I don't know that we've talked about it, explicitly. We would go to events, like let's say you go to like a Decentral in Miami or something like that. It was great. Go to the event, you see some talks, and then at nighttime you go out and you go to a party or a bar or whatever, and everybody's going to be there, and it's 2 a.m. and you're sitting in a booth, having a blast, and you say, so are we going to sign that deal? Yeah, I think we're going to do this. Yeah, let's do it. It's like this kind of like exciting, fun environment of like building and growing and building not just like business transaction relationships, but building like real authentic human relationships with people that you are excited about doing business with. So that's kind of what we want to do. We want to bring that energy inside the walls of the conference center. Why does it have to be something that you wait for nightlife for? Maybe you stay up past your bedtime and wake up groggy in the morning, whatever. It's something where you can be in a place where people's guard kind of goes down. They're relaxed. They're having fun. They're feeling positive. They're feeling collaborative. And so I think by highlighting those type of feelings in people and trying to foster that type of energy of positivity and collaboration and possibility, then people can be in an environment where that can actually lead to those things happening with them. And yeah, and these things did definitely happen just right then and there at our event.
Yeah, great job. Thank you so much for sharing all this with us and with our Academy members. It helps to grow
Sure.
the ecosystem by sort of, sharing the best practices, as you guys definitely, in my mind, I know how much work has gone into this. I know it's a daily work to do this conference every year. So I appreciate the amount of effort. And thanks for sharing that with us. And we look forward to seeing you shortly, I guess, in LA.
Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate you inviting me. Glad I could make it. I wish I
Yeah.
had more time to meet and talk with everybody here.
Sure.
You have my email in the chat. Feel free to reach out. But best of luck to everyone and hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, Ethan.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.